Hey Ash, how's it going?
Good, good. Greg, how are you this fine Saturday?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's been awful weather. It's not been hot for a number of days now. So it's quite depressing, really.
I think we're due a heat wave, though. I think
Yeah, well, Europe
it's gonna get
is just about
crazy.
to hit like 40 odd degrees. So with El Nino and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a wild one. Bit of a wild one. But normally down south we have better weather than you guys up north.
Mm.
But it's been awful. I'm looking there because I'm looking out the window. It's been raining most of the day. So,
Not been too bad here, but I think we're due. All the weather warnings and stuff are in place for tonight, so
yeah,
see what happens. Usually quite
should be all right.
enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, love a good storm. Love a good
Yeah.
storm. So, we are continuing on our pub crawl. I am staying in York myself,
Cool.
and I am going to be discussing the Old White Swan in Goodramgate in York.
Sounds
So
nice.
that's a bit of a mouthful. As you can see, is
Yeah, that's
is
nice.
is the pub there, and it is part of a collection of 9 buildings dating back to the 16th century. The Old White Swan is also one of the oldest in the city, and with that history comes stories and hauntings. I didn't actually see that it's named as one of the most haunted pub in York. But in one particular top sort of 10, it was number 6. So I don't know how you rank that, whether or not it's ranked on how many ghosts you see per
Mm.
pint or something like that. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah,
It's not like you can like prove anything. It's like say this has got the most proof or the most goals. I guess it's just how popular the pub is, maybe.
yeah, yeah. So maybe that's it. It's how many ghosts per pint it
Goes
is.
per pint. We could do like we could do a yearly report. Ghost per pint.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It looks like York has quite a high percentage of ghosts per pint as well. So,
Yeah, looks
but that's
like it.
just anecdotal. So, um, so another piece of strange phenomena that occurs at this pub is reports of furniture being moved, and in some cases thrown and toppled over by unseen hands. Muffled voices are also often heard, and the sound of footsteps are a regular occurrence. Pretty standard stuff for the kind of pubs that we speak about.
Yeah,
I mean, the furniture being thrown around is quite a dramatic one.
yeah. I'd say
Um,
that's quite sounds quite aggressive.
yeah, does sound quite aggressive. So going back to it and how it all sort of started, the old White Swan in Goodramgate certainly has a rich history, dating back to the 16th century. So it's another massively old pub. As a collection of 9 historic buildings, like I said, its Grade 2 listed status adds to its significance as one of the oldest pubs in York. It's got a medieval courtyard with a rock featuring 4 steps known as the Mountain Stone, and it provides a glimpse into the past when it was used to assist passengers boarding their stagecoaches. So it got a little step up. But this was the bit that particularly got me. In 1781, the pub became a temporary exhibit for Mr. O'Brien. Probably never heard of him. I
Richard
hadn't.
O'Brien,
No,
Rocky Horror Show
bit
creator.
bit early for him, unless it
Uh,
is him, in which case that's even weirder. Um, no, Mr. O'Brien was the world's tallest man. He
ah,
stood at 8 feet 7 inches at the time.
definitely not
Uh,
Richard O'Brien, and
no, definitely not.
he
Definitely
wasn't tall.
not. I got a Richard O'Brien sort of haircut nearly. So, but visitors were charged a shilling, which in new money's 5p or something like that, if you sort of scale it up and whatnot, to catch a glimpse of the Irish giant, adding a touch of curiosity and spectacle to the establishment. Um, Again, it gives a bit of rich history. However, many patrons and staff members are reported witnessing paranormal occurrences within its walls. There are sightings of a group of papists, which are religious people, gathering around a fire in the early hours of the morning, and that's been consistent over the years. Some claim to have seen these apparitions sitting and conversing as if they were still bound to their location by some unfinished business. Legend has it that a group of Catholics once planned to escape to France, and now their spirits are said to linger, occasionally rearranging chairs and relighting the fire when the pub is closed at night.
Not dangerous.
Not dangerous at all. So the self-reigniting fire is a particularly eerie one. Witnesses have observed the fire extinguished by staff only to spontaneously reignite shortly after, seemingly without any logical explanation. So that's quite strange and, again, quite dangerous. The phenomena of the self-reigniting fire at the Old White Swan is one of the most intriguing, but there are other horror stories. Again, going back to the fire, it said that when the staff extinguish it, it's normally at closing time. It's at that point that it would come back to life. It's said to reignite without any apparent natural cause, such as a stray
annoying, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So it's not like it's been seen that it doesn't appear to be an ember or an unextinguished piece of wood. It's actually gone out, and then it comes back to life. And like you say, it's like one of those candles you have at a birthday party sometimes that somebody blows, and then it goes out and comes back. And again, still no logical explanation. Again, it comes back to this bit of like, if this is happening a lot, why are you not recording it? And I don't know why these people don't, especially as along with the fire, there are numerous accounts of furniture being moved, toppled over. Some visitors are reported feeling a strong presence or being touched by an invisible force. I mentioned muffled voices right at the start and the sound of footsteps. This is when the place is empty that these strange noises occur. Over the years, paranormal investigators, though, curious locals and ghost enthusiasts have visited the Old Swan to experience these phenomena firsthand. The haunting stories have contributed to the establishment's reputation as a haunted pub, drawing visitors seeking a spooky experience and a glimpse into York's intriguing past. However, you will see that I'm just putting up a selfie that has been taken by a lady called Kerry Smith. So she was on the night out with her best friend Sarah Powell and her cousin Wayne Fisher at the Old White Swan. It was actually Sarah, sorry, not Kerry, who decided to take a snap of the three of them. Kerry, who lives in Foxwood and works in the city of York for the council, said that Sarah took a sequence of 3 photos in quick succession, and the middle one shows a man standing next to their friend Wayne in the middle there, who wasn't there on the night. Now, yeah. So I went on to the local paper, and in one of the York papers, it actually says that this is a very unconvincing photograph. It does look, it's low light. You can see people in the background, but it's low light on a camera phone. And because it's using the front facing camera, they're not as good as the rear facing cameras. And I just think it's just a slightly long exposure in low light that we normally see these haunted stories on Facebook and all these different groups where people have said, I've captured somebody who wasn't there. It's like, they probably were there. It's just because they're not part of your group and part of, you just didn't notice them. Because people are quite
a pub, like people are
there. You can see in this particular photo in the background, there's a guy with a beaming smile. So there are people aware of the camera, but it's the fact that your brain doesn't remember stuff that's not relevant. and this guy could have just been walking past as they took the photo. And you wouldn't necessarily remember someone because you've taken the photo, you've seen it later on. If you've seen it there and then, I kind of get that you might go, oh, that's a bit weird, and have a little look for the person, because in the photo you can kind of see the person. So, I mean, it's
you had a couple of drinks if you're out for whatever occasion.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the picture was like to do that black kind of mist.
It's not, because it's sort of, the other two photos are very similar and just show that it almost looks like some of the blurriness is almost like a light anomaly from the pub somewhere. Because as I say, it looks dark in there. It's indoors. It's probably evening.
Yeah.
This guy's walked past, and the aperture opens for a bit longer on a mobile phone in the dark. They're not renowned for great photos in the dark. So that's my take on it, based on all the stuff that we've seen over the years. I just think it's a good story. It adds to the weight that the pub is haunted. But in my opinion, I don't think it's as paranormal as it was originally made out to be. But yeah, cool story, cool pub. Yeah. And that is the Old White Swan in Goodramgate.
Cool. Well, I'm continuing my kind of little solo travel around Yorkshire. But now heading out to the East Ridings of Yorkshire, to Hull, as it's known over there.
Hull?
Nice little city of Hull, or Hull, as
no,
it's spelt. So in the old town of Hull is the city's oldest pub, aptly named Ye Old White Hart.
They've done that quite well then, didn't they?
The pub is steeped in history, and the present building was constructed all the way back in 1550.
Wow.
So similar to that one you talked about in the 16th century. Very, very long time ago. It's a Grade 2 listed building. From the outside, you can see in the picture, it's quite a classic traditional pub from the outside, British Bruiser. Yep. And it does retain much of its historic charm. But there are other things from the past that linger in Ye Old White Hart.
Tell me more.
Although almost destroyed by fire in the 19th century, the pub has stood strong for centuries. Countless tales of love, war, and betrayal have been told inside this pub's oak-panelled walls. The pub has also heard its share of ghost stories, with many claiming to see many ghosts making their way through the pub's walls and halls. These sightings made all the more fascinating when you consider how old the pub is and the history that must have been gone on in the past 500 or so years.
Oh yeah, that's seen some action, I'm sure.
Definitely. One of the rooms is known as the plotting parlour, due to the fact that on April 23rd, 1642, the governor of Hull, Sir John Hotham, had a meeting here in which it decided to close the gates of Hull to King Charles I. There's a large arsenal at Hull, which Parliament had authorised Hotham to retain and hence deny the king access to. The king subsequently besieged Hull for 3 weeks, and that is considered to be the first major action of the English Civil War.
Oh, okay, cool.
So obviously Parliament saying, no, don't let the king in, don't give him access to the weapons, and then the king started to attack Hull. Thanks to the decision made in that pub. Which is a crazy thing, like saying about history that has happened there.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the pub also contains a genuine human skull, which is locked in a glass case. There are competing theories about the origin of the skull, and none of them are pleasant, as you might expect.
I'm sure they're not.
One of the stories says that the skull is that of a youth. A fracture mark suggests he died from a blow to the head, and many say this happened when a drunken sea captain struck the boy with the butt of his pistol, killing him. They say the boy's lifeless body was placed under the staircase, and it remained there until discovered until after a fire, which occurred sometime in the 19th century. Others say that the skull was found in the attic during renovations in 1881. And this story says that the skull belongs to a poor serving girl who was killed by the landlord at the time. To make sure his crime remained a secret, the landlord is thought to have placed the body in the attic and sealed it up where it would never be found.
Well,
A couple of stories of people being killed and
that's some
possibly
dark shit. Yeah.
leaving the bodies hidden in the pub somewhere. More recently, though, patrons of the pub have had dark experiences of their own. During a clairvoyant evening at the pub, a woman claimed to see the image of a 17th century soldier appearing much like Guy Fawkes. At the time, landlord Mike Wallace said he had no rational explanation for what the woman saw.
Oh.
The landlord has also spoken of the time when his daughter spotted some paranormal activity in the pub. He said, and I quote, Jess ran out from behind the bar shouting, Dad, Dad, come and have a look at this. There were 6 punters, all sat with open mouths, and a set of keys hanging from a hook behind the bar was swinging. I checked for a draft, nothing. It was ice cold, as if we were stood next to an air conditioning unit. Speaking
Wow.
to Hull Live, the local newspaper, a current staff member at the pub said, everybody's seeing something different. When I first started working here, someone came in and ran upstairs. I chased after them because you're not allowed up there. Went all the way up to the attic, but there's nobody there.
Wow.
The stairs are creaky. I heard him, and he don't miss someone using the stairs. Some of the other staff members are seeing a woman in blue walking around the bar upstairs, as well as unexplainable lights flashing around the CCTV footage. So, if you fancy a drink in Hull's most haunted pub and the oldest pub, make your way down to Ye Old White Hart.
Wow. That's some dark. You do get some dark ones, don't you?
I'm not going looking for him, honestly.
Yeah, interesting you say about the Guy Fawkes bit, because in previous episode there's the Guy Fawkes in where they plotted in York, so it's not that far. I don't know where York to Hull is, or
About 45 minutes to an hour.
drive.
Yeah.
A bit long walk, and that.
Yeah, long walk. Short flight, long walk.
Definitely. So that is another episode of Haunted Pub Crawl.
See you next time.